Yeah. Early day MMA. 2 weeks in a row, ladies and gentlemen. You just can't complain about that. You just can't. UFC Paris about to go down at about 28 minutes and 34 seconds from right now. As you can see, the main faces of this one, we got Ciryl Gane fighting at home for the second consecutive year, taking on the surging contender in Serghei Spivac. We got Manon Fiorot, hometown fight for her, as she welcomes the former strawweight champion of the world, Rose Namajuans, to the flyweight division. And we are here for the People's Pre-Fight Show, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't have one last week because early day MMA took on a whole new meaning with the Singapore card. We weren't hopping on here at 4:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, but we are here today, ladies and gentlemen. Some brunch, some lunch with some fights. I am Mike Heck, and joining me, as always, on this adventure, the baddest stash in MMA media, the best damn chair swinger in all of MMA. He's the one and only Casey Leydon.
Oh.
Oh, God. That was... like, that wasn't even purposely done at all. Like, there's no... That was... Wham!
I was supposed to go that way, but the last second I decided to go this way, and that was a big mistake.
I thought you were just going like really slow, just based on your excitement levels for this card. And
well, I mean, I was going slow. I didn't want to. You know, Jed's got his Michelin stars. AK's got his gymnastic rating. I got my chair spin rating. You know, well, that was it. That was the card right there. That's it. Thanks for watching.
So was that like? Was that kind of saying like this is gonna be fireworks? Like we're just gonna boom? That's what this card's gonna be like, or was that just whatever could go wrong could go wrong?
Yeah, that's like kicking your shin into your bed in the middle of the night. Yeah, like ugh.
Well, look, this
is
kind of a tough one. Like the top three fights are really good. Like there are storylines attached to all three fights. Main event is interesting. Let's see if Ciryl can bounce back. Serghei Spivac's been on a good run, but really hasn't beat like top level competition. Rose moving up to 125 is the most interesting thing on this card. I love the Benoit Saint-Denis Thiago Moises fight.
Fun fight.
We got Volkan Oezdemir fighting a guy that probably is not UFC ready from what I've seen. And then it's just, some good fighters, a lot of local talent on the card, but Jed kind of explained this perfectly. This is a Bellator-esque UFC card where there's like some interesting fights, but the rest is just, hey, we got to sell tickets. Yeah. Here you are, local fighters, sell some tickets. But there are some guys on this card that like watching Taylor Lapilus make the walk to the cage today is going to be interesting. Like, he had a 3-1 run in the UFC and then was just gone. And now he's back for this card. Morgan Charrier, like, deserved to be in the UFC.
I'm looking forward to him. Yeah.
And he should style. William Gomi is 2-0 in the UFC. He's kind of looking for his breakout performance in the octagon. So there are like some interesting things, but it's college football season. This is like a big college football day. So could be, viewership may not be as tremendous for this one, but I'm ready for it. Early day MMA, right up my alley. 11 fights, perfect.
I think that's the best part. Early day, 11 fights, and the top of the card, the top 2 fights, 3 fights are worth staying home for. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to tell you guys to cancel all your afternoon, morning plans to watch every fight, but the last hour of the card, the last 3 fights, good job. I don't mind them.
It's a long weekend here in the United States. Get outside, enjoy. This is the unofficial end of summer in a lot of people's eyes. So if you got other things to do, I get it. But yeah, come back for the last 3 fights. Yeah. Or you could be like us and just watch them all, and I think you'll be all right with it. All right, let's go to the peeps. You know what this is. 30 questions in the chat. We'll pull them up. We'll discuss until the fights begin, and we'll let you know when that all goes down.
All right, what was our first question? Oh, all right. Here we go.
True or false? If John Jones beats Stipe by the end of the year and retires, the vacant heavyweight belt fight would be between Aspinall and the winner of Gane versus Spivac. False.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, we got. I mean, I think Aspinall will be on that half of that card, but
I don't know. Serghei Pavlovich has to be one half of this for sure. He has earned that right. He deserves to be one half.
You said earned. You said earned.
Okay. He's going to be what? He's the backup fighter for the second straight John Jones fight. He's going to be one half of that.
Yeah.
If Jailton Almeida beats Curtis Blades, he will leapfrog Tom Aspinall, in my opinion. That's the best win of any of these guys that are even in this conversation. You're right. Yeah, if I think people keep forgetting about Jailton. Like, that fight's November 4th, so the timing in a sport where, what have you done for me lately is going to be like, the timing of that fight couldn't be perfect. Perfect.
What card is that on? What card is that on?
That's November 4th. That's the week before the title fight.
Is it Apex card or is it?
No, it's in Brazil, Sao Paulo.
Okay, Brazil. Okay, and that's to me Almeida's issue. Maybe I'm forgetting, but has he been really featured as like a main event in a fight night?
He main evented the Charlotte card earlier this year against Jairzinho.
God, why is that?
Because we knew how that fight was going to go, and it went.
I think
exactly
that's what it was. Okay, yeah. I think. Yeah, I know Almeida is so good, but for some reason I don't I'm trying to figure out why there isn't like this Aspinall type of hype around. I mean, there is. I don't know. I just forget about Almeida when he's not around for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, and he's been pretty active.
Yeah.
He's fought a bunch, but now he's got this main event spot. They're going back to Brazil, going back to Sao Paulo. Throw him in the main event. Let's see if Curtis Blades wins, Aspinall is certainly in play. But I think the way Aspinall, if you go to MMA Fighting's social media pages, Tom Aspinall is in Paris. He is there. And he said after the London fight, I'm going to Paris. I'm going to sit front row. I'm going to watch the Ciryl Gane Serghei Spivac fight. And I'm going to fight the winner. Now, Tom Aspinall already iced Serghei Spivac a couple of years ago. But if Ciryl Gane wins, Aspinall versus Gane is a damn good fight.
Of all those fighters you mentioned, who's the biggest right now? Who moves the needle the most? Because I think that's super important for the UFC. I still think Aspinall is that's why I'm not trying to dismiss Aspinall getting a title shot, leapfrogging, just because I feel like he's the biggest needle mover for the UFC as far as heavyweight prospects. I could be wrong. Maybe
he's close. Oh, he's
off.
If we're talking like superstardom ceilings, I think Aspinall has the highest one. I think he's got more of the tools that the UFC is looking for. I think the year away kind of hurt. I mean, he came back and just destroyed Marcin Tybura, which I don't think surprised a lot of people. But if he
incredibly dominant though, not just destroyed him, like just didn't make Tybura look like he belonged in there, which is wild.
It was perfect matchmaking for that fight. It was perfect for the return. He doesn't have that signature win though. You know what I mean? Like that Tybura is a great win, but the Curtis Blades, like not getting the Curtis Blades fight, that just hurts my soul. That we only got 15 seconds of that and it ended the way that it did. Because if Tom Aspinall goes out there and beats Curtis Blades, like, there are no more questions. That's it.
Both gentlemen, actually. It hurt Blades, too. If Blades would have done something spectacular, well, legitimately done something spectacular, too, maybe we're talking about Blades in a different way, too. So, it may hurt. I understand. Yeah, totally. I think Aspinall is missing that. He's actually missing the MSG card, being on that co-main event on a pay-per-view or a featured fight on a pay-per-view. You know, somebody like, because all his last 3 fights, right, have been main events in UK. Am I forgetting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Volkov, Blades, and then Tybura.
Yeah. So eventually you got to put him. You got to bring him over here. I think for the UFC for that kind of get that push. But yeah.
You got. I mean, it's a good problem to have, right? It's a pretty good problem to have. Yeah. Aspinall's got to get there. He goes and beats a Ciryl Gane. Like if he goes out there and just runs him over in a round, like he's done to pretty much everybody else he's fought, like that's it. Strap the rockets to the man and let him fly. I think he has the highest ceiling of all of these guys.
I agree.
But I need to see that like top 5 win. I just got to see it.
Fair enough.
If Rose beats Manon, who's on a big win streak at 125, does she deserve a title fight at flyweight? So I think there's 2 different questions to be asked here, Casey. Does she deserve a title fight is a different question than will she get one? Because 1-0, you beat Manon Fiorot. I mean, it's a nice win.
It's great. It's a great win.
It's a very good win. It's a very good win. I think Erin Blanchfield beating Taila Santos holds more weight, at least to me. But if Rose wins this fight by hook or by crook, she is fighting for the title next. It is going to happen. And Erin Blanchfield is just going to have to wait or fight somebody else. If Rose wins, she's getting a title shot.
If Rose wins and she wants that title shot and she pushes for that title shot publicly through the media, she will get it. Yes, I agree. If she wins and she has kind of like, hey, I'm just going to go to my farm for 6 more months, and then I'll wait for a call, and doesn't really kind of energize the fan base, I think then we could be iffy. But as long as Rose wins and says she wants that title fight and calls out Grasso, calls out Chevy.
She doesn't even need to. If she just says, like, I'll be paying close attention September 16th to this title fight, like, that's all she needs to say.
Yeah, as long as she convinces us that she wants it, that she's back in the game now. I think that's the most important part. Like, because that's all we talk about Rose. We know she's incredibly talented. We know on our best day, she still could be the strawweight champion on our best day, because it's all up here with her. We just have to see if she's there. Then if we feel that she has that confidence back, that motivation, I could see her definitely leapfrogging Blanchfield.
Sure, for sure.
But I'm bummed about it. I don't even want to talk about it too much because I think I just want Erin to get that title shot. I don't want to do this Habib thing or where they just, it's never the right moment, it's never the right fight. It feels like, and she just keeps fighting these number 1 contenders over and over and over. And then when she finally does win the belt, she's beaten everyone already. So it's just kind of like, well, who am I gonna fight? So but I guess for a division that we kind of poo-pooed for a while, the women's flyweight division, all of a sudden it gets really interesting tonight. It gets really interesting.
For sure. The next 3 weeks, it's going to get real interesting.
Yep.
Who will be the breakout star from tonight's card? And why is the answer Colin Loughran? Look, I get it. Kudos to him because I respect a trier. And Colin has been trying his ass off to put this fight over. And this is a fight that came together like real quick. You're supposed to fight Giannis Gamori. Giannis is now fighting William Gomi. And then they threw Taylor Lapilus in here with Colin Loughran. Loughran's super fun. Like, he got up on stage and he just ate up the booze at the ceremonial weigh-ins and like flipped off the fans. So like, people in Paris are going to care about him. They're going to care about Lapilus trying to put the boots to him. But I'll tell you this, if he goes out there and finishes Taylor Lapilus, it's 100% the correct answer. It's going to be him. He's going to be the most talked about guy, like the low-key most talked about guy on this card if he goes out there and knocks out Taylor Lapilus or finishes him in any way. What do you think?
I know nothing about him other than his kind of pre-fight kind of hype antics. So, I mean, I don't know anything about him. Is he
Cage Warriors champ? He's a finisher, man. He's fun. He's very, very fun to watch. And I think he's finished 7 of 8. Let me pull it up right now. He's just super fun to watch. I thought his last performance against in May against Diller
Hazan.
Pull it up. Dylan Hazan, yeah. That's a good win. 9-0 guy, hands him his first loss and just beat the hell out of him. So
I mean just judging by his record. Yeah, judging by his record, he totally deserves this spot and seems like he got in the UFC the right way. Just like worked his way up. Cage Warriors, and he's on a this is the proper placement for him. And yeah, don't really have an opinion on him, so I guess we'll see tonight.
Yeah, it's just wild. Like, I don't know. There's like certain fighters from Cage Warriors who everyone's like, oh, this guy's definitely getting the UFC, have to go in the Contender Series.
Yeah.
George Hardwick had to go in the Contender Series and fight like a really good dude when he should have just been outright signed like Cowan. But good addition. He's fun. He's only 27. So if he goes out there and wins tonight and does it today, Jesus Christ, and does it impressively, it's got to be him for sure. But he's got a tough fight. He's got a tough fight on his hands.
Yeah.
Where does Oezdemir go if he loses today, and what happens for him if he wins by dominant fashion? I will say this, Casey, and I'll let you expound on this. The most shocking thing in my eyes that can happen on this card is Volkan Oezdemir losing to Bogdan Guskov. I just don't see a world where that happens. This is about as tailor-made of a matchup as you can make for Oezdemir. Now, I know if you go and look at Guskov's record, he just finishes a bunch of guys. But if you actually watch him fight, and I know there's not like a lot of footage on the YouTubes and the social medias with this guy, but from what I've seen, yeah, he finishes fights, but he just doesn't have it. You know what I mean? He's kind of small for the division. He doesn't look great, and he's beating guys that he should just run over.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't blown away by anything I really saw from him. Volkan went hammer and tongs with Yuri Prochazka and won the first round against Yuri. He got knocked out in the second, but to me, if Volkan can eat those shots from Yuri, especially like over a 5-minute span, because this fight's not getting out of the first round, I feel pretty confident that he's going to be able to take Guskov shots. So if he loses today, it's going to be really, really bad. This will be by far the worst loss of his career. And if he wins, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I don't want to say this is a must-win for Volkan Oezdemir, but yeah, it's set up for him to win. Yeah.
This is, I mean, he was supposed to fight Azamat Mirzakhanov, and I was super into that fight. That would have been a really good one. This is about as good as it gets if you're Volkan want to fight.
You know what? But this is what kind of fight night prelims should be. They should be kind of honestly showcase fights a lot of times. That's okay. You can have a good competitive prospect fight, two prospects versus each other. But then any kind of fights like this, and UFC. It was this going to be his 13th fight in the UFC. Wow, he's 6-6. That's crazy.
But look at his losses, thoh.
No. I agree. He kind of had that curse where, and I always say this is bad for fighters, when you get that quick, sub 1 minute finish, and he had 2 of them in a row, and all of a sudden, he gets thrown in there with Daniel Cormier after that. It's just, I get confidence, but it's a bit unfair for us. I think we still have these expectations of Volkan, just knocking out people in sub 30 seconds when, no, that's just not the reality. It did happen twice, obviously, but maybe, I don't know. I think overall that's bad for their overall growth, or maybe our realistic expectations of them.
Yeah, I mean, DC, we were both there for that fight.
Mm-hmm.
DC just looked incredible, and DC just kind of big brothered him like he did to pretty much everybody he fought except for John Jones. The Anthony Smith loss, like Yuri, Oezdemir was looking pretty damn good in that fight, and then Anthony Smith, that was the time when Anthony would just have a tough couple of rounds, and then he would just come out of nowhere and come back and get a finish. And then the Dominic Reyes fight, a lot of people felt like Volkan won that fight. That was one of those kind of controversial decisions that led up to Reyes fighting for the belt. And then he knocked out Latifi. Not a lot of people knock out Latifi, beats Alexander Rakic, and then his other losses were to Yuri, Nikita Krylov, who's just sneaky good, and Magomed Ankalaev, who might just be the best light heavyweight in the world.
Just don't know.
Yeah. So the guys he's supposed to beat, he beats. This will be a really bad loss for him. Really bad.
It would be. This is true. All right. What do we got here?
Where does he go if he wins? He might maybe he gets the Khalil Roundtree treatment. Maybe he gets to headline the Apex with Khalil Roundtree or something. Not a bad place to be.
Yeah. Who just beat Ryan Spann?
Anthony Smith.
Oh, never mind.
What if Sean O'Malley fights once in a year? How does that affect the division's image? And will the UFC force Sean to fight multiple times in a year? I'll let you go first on this one.
I'm assuming fighting once a year, like because he only wants to fight once a year, not because of injuries or something like that. I mean, that'd be bad for the division. That's all. And can the UFC force Sean to fight multiple times a year? Yeah, you can throw more money on that check. I mean, I guess that's one thing I've always liked about Sean O'Malley. He's very upfront about, I'm a prize fighter. I fight for money. Pay me money. And I appreciate that honesty. If that's kind of like his motivation as a top level mixed martial artist. So yeah, if the UFC pays up, then he will fight multiple times a year. But I don't. Why is this? Has he implied that he's slowing his schedule down?
I mean,
or he's just waiting for those big fights. I mean,
he wants a Cheeto fight, and then he wants to go box Gervonta Davis. Like, he wants big money fights, and like, he's not terribly wrong, right? Like, Cheeto is the big money fight, and that's kind of it right now at 135, is it not? Like, the Aljo rematch would probably be number 2, but the Cheeto one is just probably like, it's just so far ahead. Merab, I don't think moves that neat. Like, I think Sean's the A side for sure, but
Sean's the A
the
side.
Cheeto one,
yeah,
Sean's the A side against Cheeto too, and Cheeto's got a really big fan base. So I actually think this fight's going to happen before the end of the year. I think the UFC is they're going to push him. He teased something. He goes big news from the Sugar State Athletic Commission coming soon. So that could be the main event in December. That could be the one. I don't know. So, and to be fair, at least Sean has put it out there that they wanted to have him fight Aljo first. And then the way he presented is that the UFC called him and said, hey, step aside. We're going to let Cejudo fight Aljo first, and then you get the winner. And he was like, okay, you're going to give me more time to prepare for either of these guys? All right. Totally cool with that. So he's playing everything right. Yeah. Like, he really is playing everything right.
I'll be bummed out if he only fights once a year, because for a division I think is the most stacked, best division in the world, the men's bantamweight division, that somehow with all these great fighters, there's no one that seems to be set up to fight the champ, because just the matchups and injuries is just kind of a weird way. Even though 35 is incredible, I don't know how that happened, but just you know what I mean?
Sean, we talked about this on the ranking show. It would not shock me in the slightest if Sean O'Malley beats Cheeto, and who knows? Like, Cheeto's already got a win over Sean. You could talk about that fight all you want. That was a fair, clean win for Cheeto Vera. It was a victory, no matter what the Sugar State Athletic Commission says. And Cheeto could beat him again. And then if Cheeto wins, then all bets are off. And we could just open this, and then just the floodgates can open, and we don't have to worry about this anymore. Like, Cheeto will get the rub, but I don't think he's going to be as big of a star as Sean O'Malley could be built up. If Sean beats Cheeto, then he is gone. Like, he's just off to the moon. They're just going to strap the rockets to him. And Sean O'Malley's just going to call the shots. There is a very real world where Sean O'Malley could just be like, hey, and don't beat me up for this, because this is prize fighting, right? This is legacy and prize fighting and making money. Sean O'Malley could very easily say, you know what? I already beat the best bantamweight of all time. Let's beat the other guy that is considered the best bantamweight of all time. Dominic Cruz just gets one win. He gets on Sean's radar, and Sean can look at that as a legacy fight. And Dominic's got fans too. So Sean could just push for that, and the UFC will be like, okay, sure, you can fight Dominic Cruz. That's going to piss off everybody. But that's a real possibility with Sean at the helm. So, yeah, it's going to get It's got to get real weird, people. It's got to get real weird if he beats Cheeto.
Yeah, because obviously Sean's a very, very good bantamweight, and he's a very good prize fighter, and the UFC likes making money. And it's kind of weird. The bigger he becomes fan-wise, I think we're going to see him less and less because the UFC will just be so focused on getting him on that perfect date for that perfect opponent. Just like Conor. Conor went on his way up, fought all the time. Once you get up there, all of a sudden we barely see you anymore. Hamzat, as you're coming up, you fight every weekend. But then when you get to that level, all of a sudden you're fighting once a year because everything has to be perfectly lined up. And I feel unfortunately, that's how we're going with O'Malley, that the bigger star he becomes, the less we're going to actually see him fight.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to appreciate fighters like Volkanovski, fighters like Israel Adesanya, guys who just fight all the freaking time.
Yeah. Even Aljo.
And Aljo too. Sorry, Aljo too.
Very active. Yeah.
Aljo too.
Very active champion.
All right.
It's tough game. It's a very tough game.
Yeah. And I get it too, because you fight one title fight, make $1 million. But if you wait 3 months and fight that run opponent, you can make $10 million, or something like that. So
he could just go fight Volk. Like, they could just send him up to 40. Like, he could just be like, nah, I'll go fight Volkanovski. I want to try it. And like, who cares? If he loses that fight, then it's like, oh well, I lost to the best fighter in the planet.
Jed would be going insane right now by you mentioning
he'll lose it.
He would lose it. And I totally get Jed's angle on it. I totally get. It's just fun riling him up.
I think he actually he's surprised that O'Malley. He actually thinks that's a possibility. He thinks that's a very strong possibility.
O'Malley Volk.
He was on the ranking show with us. Yeah, he was surprised that he didn't mention Volk in the aftermath of this Sterling fight.
Yeah,
but it's because the Cheeto fight's right there.
Yeah, I think he wants that Cheeto fight. All right.
Yeah. Where are you at with Benoit Saint-Denis if he beats and finishes Thiago Moises, especially with the fact he's coming off an impressive win over Ismail Bonfim? Benoit Saint-Denis looked real good. His one loss in the UFC was at 170 on super short notice, and he got the break speed off of him. And it was just that weird fight where the referee didn't stop it. And everyone's like, all right, please stop this fight. And he didn't stop it. The coaches took a little bit of a beating for not stopping it at the corner. But damn, back at 155, looks pretty damn good. How excited are you going to be for him in this incredible division if he goes out and just annihilates a guy like Thiago Moises later on today?
Annihilates. Okay. I thought we were just going.
If he goes out and finishes, if he just has a great performance and then just puts him away, how excited for his future will you be?
Even if he dominates tonight, I'm not going, he's 2 fights away from the title. I don't think we're there yet. But I think if he does win tonight, it's like, oh, cool. We have a new player, in the top 10, and he's a guy that we get used to saying his name, because we'll be saying his name for the next 5 or 6 years, for sure. If he can look great tonight against a very good fighter of Thiago Moises, a guy. Thiago Moises, he never broke the top 5, right? He was kind of like almost there. He was like a top 10.
Nah, he never broke. No, he wasn't even in the top 10. I think he's been in the top 15 a couple of times, but he's had.
Okay,
he's a pretty tough strength of schedule.
Yeah. The guys he loses to are good. Yeah. Okay.
Demir, Dariush, Demir, Islam, and Joel Alvarez are his UFC losses.
And then he just beat kind of Thiago's. Yeah, I love that. I love his victory against Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson, just beating the crap out of him in round 1, and his ankle lock round 2. I remember that fight. He got him with an ankle lock. Classic.
So we'll get to our picks in a minute, and I think I might surprise some people with my pick for this fight. I'm just gonna say it. I'm picking Thiago Moises because I just think Thiago's really good. He's so good defensively, and he doesn't get enough credit for that. He might be. I'm not gonna say he's the best defensive striking fighter at 155, but he's right up there. Go watch the Bobby Green fight. Go watch the Alexander Hernandez fight. it looks like he's getting hit, but if you really go back and look closely, he doesn't get touched, man. It's crazy. His head movement is spectacular. His movement, his ability to avoid quick shots with quick technique, it's fantastic. And it's a great quality that no one really talks about with him. He's so good at that. So this could be a tough fight. And then after I made this pick, I watched the ceremonial weigh-ins. Benoit Saint-Denis is so much bigger than him. He's a giant compared to Thiago Moises. So that's going to play, and that's going to come into effect. I almost regretted my pick, but I think Thiago's really good. So if Saint-Denis wins this fight, yeah, like you said, he's on the radar. We have to pay attention to this dude for sure.
I know that Moises lost to Islam Makhachev. Can you remind me how that fight went? I saw. Was that just...
yeah. Islam just took him down a million times. Moises kept scrambling and getting back up, and then he got taken down a bunch, and then eventually got submitted in the fourth round.
Okay, but it was kind of okay, rinse and repeat until he finally got him. And
Thiago was it was a valiant effort in defeat, but the fight was not really all that competitive. But it just showed all right, this dude is this dude's a game.
More like you survived 15 full minutes though, so that's a pretty awesome. I guess one of those kind of takeaways.
For sure.
Cool. More questions?
We can keep going.
Ready?
We can keep going. No, we can keep going.
Cool. Let's do it.
The opening video is playing right now.
I know you.
Welcome to the card. What the hell's going on with the welterweight title fight? Jesus Christ, man! It's a great question.
Isn't that the weirdest thing?
Again, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be at MSG. I feel like that's where it's gonna be. I think both guys are ready for it, but there's been nothing. Colby's come out and said MSG, and then he said John Jones refuses to fight on the same card as him. Even Dana didn't really buy that. So maybe it's just Colby's really good at weird negotiation tactics. If O'Malley and Cheeto are going to headline December, do you think Leon Colby co-mains? That doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think that happens. So I kind of feel process of elimination, I kind of feel like it's going to be November, but I have no insight to this whatsoever. I've tried to do an interview with Colby. Dude is incredibly busy doing a million things. And he's tough to lock down. One day, I'll just hit him up and he'll be all right, let's do it in 2 hours. Okay, great. And then there are times where he just won't respond at all, and he'll be very apologetic about it later. But yeah, I have no clue. No friggin' clue. But my guess is November.
Who's, from this big kind of delay, who's losing the most? Leon, Colby, the UFC? In terms of paper, I don't know, yeah,
Bilal Muhammad.
yeah, just sitting there doing,
I'm telling you, I hated that fight with Gilbert Burns. Not that it was the right fight to make, but putting it on that card made absolutely no sense. It made no sense whatsoever. After Burns had just fought Masvidal, to just, we need a co-main event. Let's do this one on 2 weeks notice. It made no sense to me. And now we're in this strange position where we haven't had have we had a major development at 170 since then? Outside of prospects winning fights? Outside of Ian Gary beating Neil Magny? If we had any interesting developments at 170 since the Bilal Muhammad Gilbert Burns fight?
Was Shavkat Neal before or after that?
That was Shavkat Neal was the John Jones card. Was 285. Okay. That was in March.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been we haven't had anything. There's nothing even really on the books.
That's when I saw this question, I was I had to kind of go in my mind. I was who is in the title fight? That's what I mean. Who's hurting the most from this big delay? It's I forgot it was Colby Leon. Honestly, I kind of forgot Leon was the champ. It felt like so much just happened. I had to remind myself who yeah,
I don't think it's really hurting either of those guys because they've been talking about let's do it. Just tell me when and we'll go. and then it's just a matter of like where to place it. I think they're overthinking this a little too much. Just put it somewhere and let's go.
Yeah,
and then we can build around it. Whether it's the main event or co-main event, it doesn't matter. Just put it on a card. But New York is the perfect place for it. Like Colby's done very well in New York. John Jones in the main event. Like that is a tremendous 1-2 punch right there. And Leon would have fans in New York as well. So I have no idea. I have no idea why this fight hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah. It's weird. Is there any chance Colby actually going to get the fight? Is there any chance that? Okay, so all right.
This is Dana's power slap. This is his power slap when it comes to the UFC.
You're right.
Like,
you're right.
no,
I've heard,
he has fought tooth and nail since March for Colby to get this title fight. So anything less than that would be insane at this point.
That's kind of funny that Dana will be so public about pushing this fight before it's signed, because Colby, for all his problematic maybe issues or whatever, he is smart about money. And the boss wants me in this fight, then pay up more. Pay up more, little more. So maybe I'm always assuming when I think he's kind of past. You think so?
I think he's happy with where he's at. Yeah.
All right. I always assume when things don't make sense, it's money.
It's dollars.
Things don't make sense. It's all money. If things are like, why that happened? That makes no sense. It's something money. Yeah. So I'm assuming someone's holding out a little bit more for this before they sign that contract. That's what I'm assuming, but we'll see.
No,
I'm kind of tired of waiting. I don't want that fight. I think that fight's stupid. But if they're gonna do it, I just don't want to wait 6 more months for it. Just make it happen.
Honestly, I think the Conor thing is what the problem is. They they really want him to fight in December. They want him to see if they can do it. If there's a chance, they're going to do it. Like they're gonna make it happen. But it's so tough because if they put a spot in December and Conor's like, all right, I'm good, I'll fight in December, then you got to move shit around. Like this whole thing with Conor and Chandler and Tough and all of that is kind of like ruined everything because now we can't announce a co-main event for November because what if Conor fights in December? So it's almost like a good thing that Sean O'Malley won and said like December because then like there's your backup plan. You could do Yuri and Alex Pereira in January for sure. Like that can headline the January pay-per-view, which, as I've said on Heck of a Morning for the last few weeks, looks like Toronto is the front runner to host that card. And I mean, that's a fun damn fight for Toronto for the light heavyweight title. So yeah, that December, like slotting that December main event, like is the most important thing I think right now. Once you put that down and like it's announced, then we can fill in the rest of the pieces. But we need that December headliner first. And that's throwing us all off.
Yep. All right. We haven't got.
It's still the commentators right now. It's John Gooden on the headsets, which I'm very excited about, along with the possibly returning Paul Felder and Michael Bisping. So we're gonna have lots of great judging stuff from Bisping on this show.
Going back to Paul Felder and BTL, I thought Jose nailed it. I think Paul Felder, Tony Ferguson is the fight.
I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with that.
I actually think that's the fight to make because I think either way, if Tony Ferguson loses, then I think Tony Ferguson he'll finally go, okay, it's time. We know it's time. And if Paul Felder loses, he's like, oh, okay, that was fun. And then Tony Ferguson's all of a sudden back. So
yeah, I'm fine with that. Jim Miller, fine with that. Joe Lozon, fine with that. Those are the matchups.
Yeah,
that I want
around that. Yeah, Jim Miller. Yeah. I agree. Do you like that Felder coming back?
Yes.
Okay. Because I know sometimes everyone's like, oh, you said you retired. Oh, I can't believe you're coming back. Like leave it like. But
here's the thing.
I feel different about Felder.
Yeah. Felder said he was done after the Dan Hooker fight, and that fight was awesome. That fight was great.
He won, right?
And he was like, no, he lost split.
He lost.
I thought he won. I thought he won that fight watching it live. By the way, if you're a newer fan and you've not watched that fight, please go watch that fight. It's awesome. It's really, really good. Close split decision. It was in Auckland, so a lot of people were like, maybe some home cooking. But it was very, very close. There's no robbery or anything like that. And he was like, dude, I went hammer and tongs. I don't know how many more wars like this I could be in, so I'm just going to, like, be home with my family. And then, like, I remember I interviewed him right after fight, because this is 2020, and Fight Island was about to happen. And I interviewed Felder, and he was still, like, unsure. He was like, I don't think I'm retired.
Oh, you muted yourself. Sorry, I don't know how that happened.
Because I was so excited talking about Felder. And then I remember we were doing BTL because Rafael dos Anjos had lost his opponent, and we're like, wow, who's going to fill this spot? And then, like, as we were live, we're like, holy shit, Paul Felder's doing it on, like, 5 days notice, which is just such a Paul Felder thing to do. And then even then he was still like, not really done. And then just randomly on a broadcast, like 6 months later, he announced his retirement and then had a press conference and all of that. So, but I never really felt like the door was slammed shut. And it's not like it's not like Tony Ferguson, who's just getting destroyed in every fight.
7-fight losing streak or something now, whatever. Yeah.
Some judge in Las Vegas that night thought Paul Felder beat Rafael dos Anjos in that fight, which is just not true. And even Paul Felder would be the first one to tell you that. But it's not like he's getting annihilated and knocked out and brutalized in these fights. Like, he's still the dude went up to 170 on, like, super short notice and fought Mike Perry and didn't get finished. Like,
Paul Felder's the guy that
concerns.
He's the guy that retired because he had options. He had career options. And that's the big difference. Yeah. He's someone, I talked a little about this on the previous show about Rose potentially retiring or whatever. But the idea, fighters, when their whole identity is, I'm a fighter, that's who I am, that's all I am. If I don't fight, I kind of don't exist. But Felder had, luckily because, he's just a good personality, he can talk well, he's gone into acting, he's obviously doing a lot of commentary. I'm sure he has other things going on outside of the UFC.
He wanted to do a triathlon and got a hook on him.
Yeah, so like he's a very broad person, so fighting is just kind of just one part of his life. And so him retiring wasn't like this, like, who am I now? But him, obviously he was the commentator for, I'm assuming he was a commentator for, was he the commentator for Holloway Zombie? Was he in the booth? Or was he just watching from home? Oh, that was in Singapore. Well, either way.
Yeah,
I get it, man.
It was Zombie's fight, and the crowd reacted to him that gave him the edge, because he said he retired because he lost, the spark just wasn't there to keep fighting. It wasn't worth the squeeze.
Wait, and I think that's so interesting. That's what's, I want to talk about Zombie a bit again because I love talking about him. Zombie got knocked out. He got knocked out, and somehow that goes. Paul Felder watching this guy get knocked out, he goes, you know what? I want to do that. I want to do all that again. Which I think is insane. It wasn't like Zombie, getting his big victory or anything. He got knocked out cold, and that's what makes Zombie so unique and so inspiring somehow.
Yeah.
And
I think
that inspired freaking Paul Felder to come out of retirement when you got a good thing going. You get the best seat in the house. You just get to talk about fights, and make jokes of Rogan, make jokes of DC, and watch fights. That's awesome. But he goes, what? I want to get in there and do that after watching that guy get knocked out. That's
and
amazing.
I think Paul never got that moment. He never got that moment. His retirement was on the broadcast, like as he was doing color commentary. So he's seeing what happened with Robbie Lawler. He saw what happened with Amanda Nunes. He saw what happened with Zombie, like being celebrated like this and like getting the moment. And it's like being, Zombie even said, like, during fight week, he's like, well, we'll see how this fight goes. But I think most people were under the impression that was going to be his last fight, and they treated it as such. So I think, especially after the Shogun fight, when his retirement fight was just like the saddest thing ever, I think Felder understands, like, the UFC is like, all right, who do you want, Paul? And Paul's obviously not going to say, well, I'll fight Islam for the belt. No, he's just he wants like a fun fight. He even said on the UFC Paris pre-fight show, like, I'm an old dude. I'm old now. Let's see in 6 months if, like, some other old dude wants to dust him off and fight me. Like, that's what he's looking for. Just like one last fight with, like, another just grinder veteran type, and I'm cool with. Like, I'm cool with that. Paul ain't going for a title. He's not. This isn't like a run. It's just one last fight. So let's do it. Why the hell not? But I love Ferguson idea. Love the Miller idea. Fuck, shit. If you want to do Max Holloway, I don't hate that idea either. Do it at 155. Don't hate that idea.
That'd be cool. Thanks.
Cool.
I like you throwing that out there. That's a cool fight. Paul Felder at 55. I liked it because it doesn't affect Max's 45 legacy. It's a fun fight. It doesn't really mean it's just a fun fight. It's just a fun fight where two dudes are going to.
Max is so good in that spot because Max would just put Paul over the whole time and like talk about how excited he is to just fight a guy like that. And I'm sure those dudes are buds.
I was high on the Tony Ferguson thing, but Max at 55 is a strong second option. Maybe a better option now that I think about it. Good.
All right.
Wow, you and your matchmaking, sir.
I should have a shot. All right, let's do some bonus predictions real quick. First fight's about to start. Jacqueline Cavalcante versus Zara Fiern. Bonuses. What are we getting?
Oezdemir.
Yep.
Oezdemir. Going Oezdemir, and I'm going Gane for performances. And for fight of the night, I am going to go with. Ooh, I do not know. I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna go fight at night. I'm gonna go with the co-main event.
All right.
Rose is gonna. She's gonna show. Okay, that was just a bad night, and you're gonna get the real Rose tonight. And I think Fiorot is gonna be a good dance partner tonight.
I'm going Gane, Morgan Charrier for the other bonus because I don't think Oezdemir is going to get it. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, okay, like this
too big a favorite.
This was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Fight of the night. I'm going to go with Thiago Moises versus Benoit Saint-Denis. I think that's going to be just
that was my other option. Yeah.
Super good fight. So the first fight's starting, but we'll do main card picks real quick. I got Morgan Charrier, second round KO or TKO against poor Manolo Zucchini.
I got how do you say Charrier?
Charrier.
Charrier.
Luckily, we'll hear it on the broadcast. And
I got my dude Morgan with a first round KO.
Yeah. Morgan, let's go Morgan. William Gomis versus Yanis Gamore. France versus France. Casey, who gets this one done?
I'm going with who did I pick? Gomis. Second round knockout.
Ooh. I'm going Gomis decision. Volkan Oezdemir, first round KO. Anything less would be shocking to me.
Yep, first round KO.
Benoit Saint-Denis versus Thiago Moises. This fight, to me, is going to be incredibly competitive. I could certainly see Benoit Saint-Denis winning in a number of ways, but I'm sticking with my gut. Thiago Moises wins a super fun, competitive decision.
Thiago Moises gets a submission in round 2 after taking a beating in round 1.
Wow, that would be insane. That would be. I will literally scream. Well, I won't scream, but I'll be like, holy shit. Big one, 125. We're both picking Ciryl Gane, and we both picked bonuses. So I'm picking Ciryl Gane first round knockout. This is a fight that could easily be extended. But I just kind of feel like Serghei is going to shoot a couple of takedowns. Gane's going to be ready for it, and Gane's just going to hit him with something real bad. It hurt him, and then just land a bunch of punches. So that's what my gut's telling me. But this fight could go to the championship round, certainly.
For the main event, I'm taking Gane by knockout in round 3.
Okay. But I think this is the most interesting one. Okay. Manon Fiorot welcoming Rose Namajuans to the flyweight division. Manon is a very popular pick. Is she your pick, Casey?
No, she is not. I am picking Rose Namajuans to win a 29-28 closely contested decision tonight.
Well, I am also picking Rose Namajuans to win by decision. And we're going to know how this fight's going to go pretty quickly. We'll know about 4 minutes in. what this fight's going to look like. If Rose is, and I feel like Rose is fighting for a purpose. Like, I don't think this is like a cash grab or like, well, I guess I'll fight. Like, I think she's really super focused on this. She spent a lot of time like lifting the weights like she said she was going to do. There's purpose to this fight. And I feel like in this dog spot with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, this is where she shines the brightest. Where she's the underdog, a lot of people pick it against her. This is when Rose has her best performances. If it goes the other way, it would not surprise me. But I think Rose can get it done. I actually think Rose is going to be quicker.
I think so.
I think she's sneaky. If you watch Manon Fiorot fights, she gets kicked in the face. Like if you throw a high kick at her, she doesn't block them very well. And Rose is super sneaky with those. Yeah. So I think she could score with those and land big shots and steal rounds. And if this fight goes to the ground, Rose is sneaky. Like, she's sneaky good down there. She's squirrely. So I don't think she's going to have a huge advantage in that department either. Now, if we see Manon just kind of Matt Hughes her and just chuck her to the ground and like lay on her for the whole first round, then we're like, oh shit, this is not going to be good. But I believe Rose can get this done. So if you're going to give me Rose Namajuans a dog money, I'm going to take it. So yeah, I got Rose by decision. Hit the music.
Wait, real quick though. If Manon does win, how does she win?
Decision.
If
I'm betting if I'm betting on Manon Fiorot, I'm betting Manon Fiorot by decision. I don't think she gets her out of there. I don't think Rose finishes Manon, but I do feel if a finish comes in this fight, it's coming from Rose Namajuans.
Yeah, I was going to say like
head kick or like some sneaky submission off of her back or something.
Yeah, one of my big like outside of Volkan losing, my biggest shocker of the night would be like someone like Fiorot like finishing Rose in a round, just dominating her. Like
that would be
that was one way traffic. That would be like, I don't know.
Blanchfield might lose her title shot if that happens too.
Yeah, we're not talking. Yeah, no one's talking about Manon. If she dominates somehow and finishes like, and with that entire crowd going crazy for her, who knows?
Yeah.
So.
We have an eye poke timeout, which is wonderful. Oh, double eye poke. Oh,
what?
Smoke. It looks like on the replay, it looks like a double eye poke.
Exciting.
It looked like the thumb went in one eye, and the index finger went right in the other eye.
Oh, he poked both eyes. I thought you meant that both fighters poked each other.
No.
Like Three Stooges?
Yeah, both eyes got poked. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Come on, you got to stop it. Everyone knows this is the only defense.
Come on, Jacqueline. You know what to do. All right. Enjoy the fights, everybody. We'll be back later on for the post-fight show to recap it all. So thank you, Casey. Enjoy, everybody.